Can't look in the eyes of my brother without shedding a tear for my brother. I really wanna try for my brother.
Yo!
I truly do feel for my brother.
Yo! I don't know how loud that was in real life. Welcome back. What's good? What's the word? We want to welcome y'all back to our thousands upon thousands of listeners. No. Numbers growing every day. No.
Yeah. Facts.
Appreciate it. Yo, welcome back to the InforMILLy Honest podcast. Happy Juneteenth. I don't know when this is coming out, but whenever you get it, happy Juneteenth.
Honestly, ironically, I think this is going to be around the beginning of July, so it might be like that 4th of July time frame, which makes it kind of funny.
Even better.
Yeah,
hopefully you celebrate.
This is like,
hopefully you acknowledged it.
Who you with? Because real 4th of July, motherfuckers were still not free. And not that, we any more free now. Anyway, I saw a shirt the other day in some Instagram ad that was like Juneteenth, 1865, free-ish since 1865.
Yeah. A buddy of mine was just wearing that today. Yeah.
So you followed that ad. Got them cookies. Yo, get into the formal spiel. Welcome back. We want to thank y'all for joining us on another time with the InforMILLy Honest podcast. We are four brothers. Hey, we informal, so I will awkwardly start this every time. And we are four brothers, different mothers, and four different states in these here. US of A, or at this point it's 3 now because Marcus is in Illinois, I think. And so
at the moment,
we want to thank y'all for coming back. Here we pride ourselves on having conversations that are rooted, most of all, in being forthright, vulnerable, and honest. And more than anything, we just try to have these candid conversations that can challenge each other, that we can hear each other. And we're probably going to miss some shit, but if you want completely broken down political arguments and all of that, then I suggest you tune into that place. We just people here having a conversation like you would any other time. So fellas, how'd you spend your Juneteenth? Did you do anything special?
So far, nothing special. Actually been moving around a lot. This weekend, got a lot going on, kind of. Not moving like literally, but out and about. You're right.
Right.
On the prowl.
Adam, you got on the whole Juneteenth uniform. So
yeah, sort of.
I know.
Juneteenth-ish.
Juneteenth-ish.
So the shirt, I can say, although it does say "Inclusion lives here," it's like I actually got this when I was in Virginia. That program I was in for like a couple months where we were learning the accounting software and all that. Well, we were pretty much what we call in the military, we were voluntold to do this walk. You know how they like do these charity walks, whatever.
You say voluntold?
It's kind of like where they want volunteers, but when they don't get enough volunteers, they say, okay, you're gonna go now. So it's kind of like,
wow, that's a new term. Okay, add that to the thesaurus.
I like that.
So yeah, it was cool though because we went to DC or whatever.
Okay.
And we walked past like the African American Museum, few monuments and stuff like that. But yeah, that's where the shirt came from. But it is fitting though, I would say. But besides that, today I just went to work, and I was making this post on Facebook today, kind of just jokingly because I'm not expecting anyone to really acknowledge the Juneteenth, whatever. Especially my coworkers. So I made the point that last week we celebrated Peanut Butter Day, and they brought in like peanut butter cookies and brownies with peanut butter and all this peanut butter, inspired treats. yeah. And I was like, I wonder if anyone's gonna mention like anything about Juneteenth today, especially with what's going on in the country, well, the world really. But of course, nothing was mentioned. So
yeah, it's funny,
and it's fine. I wasn't expecting it, and honestly, I don't care. But it was just kind of like an inside, joke.
Yeah.
It's funny how some of the holidays we celebrate that's like super new, like Taco Day and stuff like that. Like,
Donut Day.
All these days it just kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Although I think somebody's giving away free donuts for Donut Day, so I put all my support in free donuts, y'all.
Yeah, I heard somebody mention something about like an ice cream day or something. That actually sounds like something delightful.
Sounds wonderful, man. Yeah,
especially as hot as it was today.
Yeah, bro. A sugar fiend like myself would thoroughly appreciate that holiday. I'm gonna try to get that one off too.
And what did you do? What was your day filled with?
I pretty much just went to work as well, man, and actually got invited to several protest type gatherings, but they all were either like 6:30 or 7 p.m. And that's when I spend time with the fellas.
We got to be here, so I get that.
Yeah. And then like little stuff around the house, man. Like I'm trying to finish putting up this. This sounds like this should not take very, very long, but putting up this curtain rod with these French linen curtains on stunt mode.
I see you got the champagne. You gonna pop the champagne?
Got that crystal
already. Yo! Can I describe this with a portion of an Obi Trice verse?
Sure.
You know one of them?
I couldn't tell you the last time I heard an Obi Trice verse.
No gimmicks.
Yo, I'm sipping on that fine shit I ain't used to buy.
Real name, no gimmicks.
Okay, I do remember that lyric.
Yeah, sipping on that fine shit I ain't used to buy, yo.
Yeah, now it's some drips.
Got the bubbly.
Yes, sir.
In the mason jar though.
Because we informal, man.
That's that Georgia life.
Yeah. No.
Southern living.
In reality, it's probably cost like $7. I actually got it as a gift from a buddy of mine for my birthday a couple of days ago.
Nice.
I'm sure he spent like $7 on it. I ain't even tripping, yo. I'm gonna drink it like it's 100. Yeah.
It look expensive in the background.
Yes, sir. That proper product placement when you can't see the label.
Because for all we know, that's sparkling grape juice, Welch's finest.
Yo, which I love, man.
Yeah, yo, in real life, we used to tear some sparkling grape juice up.
Yeah,
back in the day.
Every New Year's. Yeah,
every
Thanksgiving.
New Year's.
For me, it's Thanksgiving. We used to kill that.
Yep.
There's an old,
does not last.
There's an old Facebook picture of me in one of them like flea market jerseys that we were talking about in the previous episode.
Chicago outfit.
And I think it was the brown one that said Brooklyn and had like 718 or whatever that area code is.
3 digits.
The 3 digits on it, yeah. And I was holding some sparkling grape juice with the label turned around, so you thought it was champagne. I had my cornrows trying to make gangster face. It was real whack. I don't know why I was this person.
Hey, I do want to mention one last thing about my day. While I was at work, I had been talking. I talked to I talked to a coworker of mine about our podcast, and this is a guy I had already previously spoken to about it, and I had encouraged him to check it out. So he gave me the feedback, and pretty much it was praises, man. So it was really good to hear the homie is feeling it. I think he only listened to like 3 or 4 episodes, but like so far we got the 2 thumbs up. So it feels really good. It feels really good to have more people appreciate it, man, and just actually giving us feedback. So if you would like to,
if you want to tell us something,
the moral of the story is
you can always write us. InforMILLy Honest podcast at gmail.com.
Yeah, highlight right there, man.
Do that.
Right. On my end, not too eventful. Mainly just trying to patronize causes. And so an old student of mine put together a fundraiser where she and a couple of other students were hosting dance classes in order to raise money for one of the bail funds. Forgive me that I don't know the actual one off the top of my head, but was able to donate some money to that. Check a couple people on some other shit. A friend of mine who bless his heart sent me a video. He was like, "Hey man, hope you well. Saw this earlier and it's had me cracking up all day." And it was like it was a mix of This Is America and Call Me Maybe. And I was like, yo, it's Juneteenth. I'm not indulging this. and he was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't even consider that. And I was like, yeah. And so
apology rejected.
I was like, yo, I'll just leave it at that. But so it's been stuff like that all day, and tearing down Chicago's mayor because she's trash, and all of that. And so
Lori Lightfoot,
Lori Lightfoot, yo,
it's hot. It's too hot.
Yo, I don't. It's one of those prime examples of when people just see the surface stuff, but they don't actually pay attention to what somebody is. They were like, "Oh, she's black and she's gay," and like, but as a person, she's horrible. Like, why are y'all voting for her? And so yeah, she been on bullshit the whole time, and especially amidst the protests. So
yeah.
Dang, man.
I gotta admit though, her name sounds cool. Like it sounds like a fictional character's name. Like
yeah,
definitely does.
Like a Hobbit.
Yeah, like makes perfect sense. Actually.
Yeah.
Well, although this is recorded on Juneteenth, I'm sure all the peoples have gotten all their fill of that information. So we're gonna veer in another direction by all means if you want that. And by the time this comes out, it's gonna be the middle of July anyway. So yeah. Do your own research. We gonna go to something else because we've been talking about heavy shit so much. So I pose these inquiries, these interrogatives, if you will. Toward attraction, like these aspects of what makes you gravitate to another person or makes that person attractive to you, etc. And seeing as how we're all in different dynamics of relationships, I just thought these would be fascinating questions. So the first one I want to pose to you fellas. Who's it, Mr. Leon? Hey fella. Our old bus driver. Sit down in your seats.
I'm gonna just laugh like I know what you're talking about. So I think that was Banneker, right?
No, that was Emerson.
It was Emerson.
Mr. Leon?
It was two Miller buses. Remember?
I must have been on the other one with what's the dude's name? Damn, what's that dude's name, man? He actually passed away I think while we were seniors or something, like our senior year or something like that.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but yeah. R.I.P.
Yeah, well, I suppose we should move on then. I suppose it would be just better for everybody if we move on. Yo, rest in peace. Either way, man.
Condolences to that dude. But yeah, so
if he did go,
I mean, yo, he's in my heart. He's in my heart, man. Look, so, that's what I wanted to express.
So first one, in respect to your relationships, if you are a partner of a person on this podcast, of course, we are not asking any of these questions in disrespect to you. get out your feelings if you are someone else that's also like, don't they have a girlfriend? Why they talk about other women and all? Yo,
mind your business.
Kill your noise. Kill that noise. This is the problem, is that monogamy is a disease. So
oh, it's hot. Yo, let's get it. Let's get it. Y'all better sit up in my chair real quick.
Watch that's gonna be the episode.
Oh yeah, that's a good title.
It's not. That's just
now we gotta say something better.
That's clickbait. Okay, so do you still acknowledge other people's attractiveness, and do you feel doing so imposes on your current relationship in any way? You need me to ask that again?
No,
not really.
Okay.
I just want somebody to go first.
Pretty straightforward. It's pretty straightforward.
There you go. If you not go, I'll go.
I'll let you go. I'm just saying, like, I feel comfortable. Right. I just gotta really like feel my answer. You know. I just gotta feel it.
So the first question is, how or do
you still acknowledge other people's attractiveness?
Okay. So I would say yes. But I guess the question is like how. But I guess when I'm with my girl, sometimes we'll both acknowledge most of the time it's to each other and not to that person. Or if it's if they just beautiful, or overwhelmingly their hair or a certain feature about them is outstanding, then
that's a good one.
I actually I actually will kind of wait for her to acknowledge it first. And I'll be like, yeah, well, but if it's amongst each other, then we usually don't have a problem with that. I mean, any set problems, but I mean, I think it's to the level of in which you do it, or I guess you just got to keep it appropriate when you with your partner, or
because there's those weird things where you're like, at least not in my current experience, but I can speak to our past experiences anyway, where you feel like you want to acknowledge that person may be lovely, gorgeous, attractive, whatever. And I did find it funny that you were like, we won't acknowledge it to them. Like, yo, you fine as hell. Like,
like, yeah, that's sending a whole different message.
Right.
Hey, turn around one more time. Turn around.
But I wonder, because I hear a lot of times people get into that censorship thing where I think, in however true or untrue it may be, some people may go, no, I cut it off completely. No one else is attracted to me whatsoever. They said, my person is it. They are the bee's kneecaps, and no one can hold a candle to them.
Well,
yeah,
I think there's an uncertainty of, like, say if I was like, dang, she fine or whatever, her is nice. And you run the risk of an argument. Like, you don't know, you never really know how it's gonna go, but you just hope is just like, oh yeah, you just hope that is a normal interaction. So
I can get that.
But you don't want to silence yourself or mute yourself in any way. So
right,
you will hope that your partner is open to acknowledging somebody else's qualities. So.
Now, do you think, and I don't want to take away from somebody else answering the question too, but do you think combating, or do you think like how should I say, combating, offering ample words of affirmation, etc., before any situation like that even comes about, lessens how hard that hit would be?
So you're talking about having that conversation about that?
No, I'm saying, like, if you are constantly gassing up your partner like all the time, and then occasionally, like a time after that, or occasionally you happen to go, damn, like just towards some other girl.
Oh, so okay, you talking about balancing giving your own partner the compliments that they need to feel comfortable before you
ever even acknowledge any outside entities. Do you think that's a escapism, or even if it's genuine, do you think not like you just purposely gassing them up in order to save your ass in the future?
Right. Yeah, I think that's important. Not like you said, not that you doing that just so you can
right.
Yeah, I think that is important. And I think it would be weird if you out and complimenting not your partner more than you do your partner.
Right.
So I guess that's kind of in the back of my mind when I'm out. Like, I'm not trying to make my girl feel like, you know, she not worthy of all the compliments, you know.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's right.
So I guess what you bringing up is like a question of balance. Like,
mm-hmm.
you need to make sure your situation is, or not situation, your compliments and your, you know, affirmations to your partner is hitting right.
Because even the conversation of even in the conversation of balance don't mean 50-50 in that scenario. Balance is like, for some people, like 90-10.
Yeah.
For some people.
Yeah. I feel what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to generalize females, but I think they're a little more
women.
Are they not females? Okay.
Oh shit, he got you there.
Whatever word. I mean, whatever word for the opposite sex that's comfortable for everybody.
Yeah, that gets us more views. Whatever word. Whatever word.
I didn't think I was being too controversial. But I guess what I was gonna say is they care a little more about that than, I don't want to say all males, but I do. I do.
Right. I'm sorry. I'm probably laughing the same reason Adam is, and that wasn't intentionally to like offer a correction. It was a like.
I paused like because
throwing allegedly out there.
I paused because I was gonna say myself, or either myself or males. Mm-hmm. I wasn't trying to find a word for.
No, yeah, I feel you.
Even though I still don't understand that controversy, but I'll digress in that sense.
I feel you. It was explained to me before, and admittedly, I don't fully remember the reasoning. But it's a thing of, I'm like, oh, is that a thing? Okay, cool. It's for me, it's one of those things of like, all you gotta do is just, if you tell me that this is a problem, and at that time to some degree convince me that that's a real problem, like, or it's not my problem to deal with, and so it does me no disservice by shifting.
Maybe I'm open to hearing that conversation, and maybe we could talk about that another time, because
you can write us at InforMILLy Honest podcast.
Right. Tell us how you feel about male and female, or how you guys want to be addressed.
Because I think it's a colloquial thing. If memory serves me correct, I think it's a colloquial thing, because too often inside of African American vernacular English in regards to men, and usually misogynistic men, they always like, yo, females be tripping, females this, females that, and there isn't a lot of colloquial times where people are like, males be tripping, males do this, males do that, and so it's that like ill balance of negative context.
So what is women's version of it?
I don't think that, like, more often than not.
Oh, maybe it does not. Right, that's what I was thinking. But maybe that doesn't matter so much as you telling me that women don't like it. So,
and then that's what I'm saying.
Maybe it doesn't matter what's the other side. Maybe that's just it. You know, if that's if
real.
that is the consensus, you know.
And I'm not here to try to, you know, what's the term, mansplain or some shit. By all means, if you want to speak for yourself, you can write us at InforMILLyHonestPodcast@gmail.com. But to my knowledge, that is what I've been told. And it is literally that thing of it's no more energy for me. It's a microcosm of extra energy to not say females. I'm like this. Okay, cool.
I mean, if you, I guess, I don't know. I don't want to
unless that's real. And unless it's in the because there was a post. Unless it's used in a adjective. It's the thing of when females gets used as a noun is usually when the issue is. But if it's used as like, oh, they are a female tennis player, then it becomes a descriptor. Not you're like, oh, that female been whooping everybody's ass in tennis. Then you're like, it just gets.
Man. These days, you can't even be a human and like fuck up and make a mistake no more, man.
You can make a mistake. It's a thing of it's
somebody gonna be like, that dude is
and no, because here's what I say to those motherfuckers, because a lot of times it be either overly sensitive or people who are also marginalized who try to act like their shit is deeper than whatever marginalization you go through. And I'm like, yo, I'm a black man in America. You can't out marginalize me. I get that there are besides black women, that's really it. That's the only person more marginalized than me. I don't want to hear nothing about. Huh?
Let me use this platform to say this, that I think females or women or the ladies are the most important thing on this earth, and I think they're the most versatile thing on this earth, most beautiful thing on this earth, and I don't in any way feel like that. So if anybody want to write in or send a video or whatever explaining that subject, I just want to put my thoughts into that before somebody take off and think I'm misogynistic or
try to
something like
that.
Shit.
Yeah, and
because
yeah,
I mean, I understand how important women are in this universe, so I just want to say that.
Well, I need to go ahead and clear something up too. Then if that's the case, let me go ahead and take this time. In the previous episode, I quote unquote dissed several people that we went to school with. It was nothing personal. It was just a song that didn't quite resonate with me.
Did somebody come after you?
Like, no, I'm just saying. I'm just like making things clear, you know.
Oh man, you good. I don't think anybody read into that. And
I'm not using this platform to like, you know.
Also,
be an asshole,
don't let me catch you listening to music calling you a hoe. After that, don't let me catch you listening to music that call you a savage. And all y'all want to be savages out there.
See, bro. That's the thing. Like I was about to say, like,
let's get into it.
It's hard. Like this whole contradict. Like it's depending on who you're talking to, what their agenda is, how they're feeling that day, what their mood. What their mood is. Anything could be considered controversial. Somebody, depending if you know what they take personally, and you slip up and say the wrong thing with no matter what your intentions are, it could become a thing. You could now be labeled as this thing, which I think is absolutely ridiculous.
Here's the thing I say toward that, because some of those things may reign true, although that may not be your heart or may not be the who you believe yourself to be, or even what the majority of your actions may go toward. But it is that thing of a lot of categorizations and all that kind of stuff are unfortunately, how should I say, social programming that you have no control over. But once you're made aware of certain actions that may reflect that, it's your duty to deal with them if you so choose to.
Yeah,
and
so choose to.
And that's what I'm saying. Like you run the risk of labels and all that kind of stuff. If you can hear the plight of whomever it is that you went against and hear the validity in whatever that plight is, or like they're not even saying like they're, but the validity of that plight, and then actively choose to continue to do the same shit, then whatever that label is what you're going to deal with. My big thing is always is continually be, I won't say always been, it will continue to be, is if I make a mistake, you must give people grace in order to fix it. Not fix it, to address it. And once we've been able to address it, then judge me on my actions in post. Because if you're just trying to do that, if you're just trying to label me about something, I could tell you all outright. Because of the way I was raised inside of Christianity, inside the hood, grew up very homophobic, grew up probably misogynistic and sexist. Those are the things that are embedded into me through the cultures that raised me. Now it's my job to deal with that shit. And I've been able to get past a lot of it. There's some shit I'm still working on. And that's always going to be the case. What happens way too often, at least inside of what I've seen on the internet and all that kind of stuff, is too much of the white population, and this is just going to be keep it a whole stack, virtue signal, or are trying to place blame everywhere else but looking at the own shit that they deal with. It's easy to go out there and it's easy to go and put blame out on something else. And I can only put examples like this.
I think almost everybody does that or has done that
to some degree. But I put it like this: with the rise of stuff like calling white women Karens, white women are finally starting to be held accountable. Not saying that the ways in which they were reaching their own points of retribution and whatnot from the Me Too movement, etc., aren't valid. They very much are. But they spent that whole time demonizing white men as if they wasn't standing there next to them when they did all that bullshit. Acting like they didn't have, like, by all means, seeing all these feminists.
You want to know why though? Because they was trying to stay on their health insurance.
That's all of that shit.
It was getting that shit free.
But I'm saying you got to benefit all from the system, and yes, you had the ways to win against you too. But if it's a thing of white men making so much, white women making, what was it, like 78 cents on the dollar, 72 cents on the dollar, something like that, and then black women over here making 60, 50 something on the dollar, and y'all didn't speak up for them, you're like, oh, this is going to help all women, but you constantly leave black women out. I don't want to hear that bullshit as if you were the main one being marginalized against. And so it's that thing of, you want to, if everybody has their grace for evolution, if you are choosing not to give people grace for their evolution, then I got no energy or space for you anyway.
I feel that grace thing. I think I would, like, it sounds like compassion, maybe.
Absolutely.
My main gripe is one. I look at I think a more fair, like, my most fair way that I could think of is looking at things in a more individual way. Whatever the race is, this individual in any particular moment. That is
I hate to cut you off, but that's a go ahead. Finish your thought. I'm sorry. Let me not be rude.
It's cool. No, it's informative. We do it all the time. I'm sure I've done it 1,000 times. So, vent, like, whoever you are, vent, get your complaint, get whatever out, do what you got to do. I understand. But the way things, in my experience, seem, my gripe is when somebody points the finger outside of themselves, and even when they're right, sometimes they are right. There's no doubt about it. It seems like there's all, like, to me, when you're aware of something, like, awareness doesn't come based on convenience. You can't only be aware of somebody else's faults and not also see yours as clearly. I don't see that happening. A lot of times I see being pointed out, and then in that moment you've forgotten that, yo, like, compassion to me is, okay, they fucked up, they're, you know, they missed the mark, whatever. But I've seen that same shit in myself. Whatever they did, it came from some emotion or whatever, some state of misery. We'll use the word misery. Compassion to me is like, oh shit, you might need to take a particular action that puts them to jail, or even defend yourself and kill that person if they're trying to take you out. Whatever extreme or not so extreme the action may be in that moment. But like, compassion to me is saying, I've seen that shit in myself. That's why I see it in you. Like, and I don't always see that clarity. Like, I feel like I've seen a lot of complaining, or I've seen a lot of like you said, pointing the finger. And responsibility to me is saying, oh shit, I've seen that shit in myself. And it can't be based off convenience. Like, you can't be all of a sudden super clear and aware of somebody else's faults and completely forget yours. In that moment, I don't understand how compassion could be there. It doesn't mean that you don't stand up, you don't take physical action and moves towards what perhaps your best interest or your culture's best interest. But you're damn sure got to be aware of your own shit too. And I think things would look a lot different if people were, when they pointed fingers, or perhaps they'll point fingers less. I don't know. That's my only gripe with that.
AJ, you got any feelings on the subject?
Yeah. Okay, so I would ask, like, so for me, like, I definitely understand what you're saying, Aaron.
Yeah.
I guess I think that everyone has a different, like you said, everyone has different issues and pointing the finger, and, you know, like there's this old saying where it's like, you know, don't point the finger because you got 3 back pointing at you or something like, you know, old folks say. But for me, it just depends. And like, for example, like, say like there's an individual that's adamant about calling out racism and being like, this ain't right. Does that person have something wrong with them that they could be like, okay, well, that ain't right. You do this, you do that. And the answer to that question is, yeah, that person probably does have something. But for me, this is my opinion. For me, racism is so destructive. Like, and it's like, it's hard for me to. I mean, besides misogyny, you know, it's hard for me to find another fault that somebody could have that equals racism. So like, for example, say like you are someone that, I don't know, like you drive a diesel truck where like you're polluting the ozone layer. Like, well, it's like, I feel like, I mean, those are that's a big deal, especially if everyone has one. But
yeah, it's a lot of shit polluting the air. So I think that's a good one.
It's just like, yeah, this person is polluting, and that really sucks. But at the same time, this person can't, you know, this person, their resume gets looked over because of their name. It's like, you know, it's like, I don't know. It's like, I get it, but
they're not
it's
comparable.
Like, I guess it just depends, because like for me, racism is on the top of that list. It's like, that's, in my opinion, that's the number one, because it affects you immediately. It affects like, as soon as you have a child, that child is affected. It's like, and they don't even know it yet. So it's like, I don't know.
That's I feel you on that. And the thing about it is, I agree with you that racism is at the top. And the main time when that space gets shared is if that person has some form of intersectionality that intercrosses with it. They're Black and a woman. They're Black and they're gay. They're Black and they're trans. They're Black and they're disabled. Like that. Like that's any other part of the intersectionality rises to the top by them being Black in a racist institution known as America. So it's that thing of, yes, it's at the top, and everything else, shares that space of whatever part of intersectionality that is. And so, yeah, we were talking about attraction. We veered off severely.
It was.
We may have needed that. I don't know.
It was.
No. We definitely needed that, and I'm sure that someone listening needed that too. And so that's what this is about. It's about the conversation. Aaron, you about to say something before I try to get us back on track?
Oh no, I was just saying that like I know we did veer off, but I thought it was good.
Absolutely. And Marcus, thank you.
I'm gonna say this before we get back on track. Just to kind of like finalize that, it's like, and I think this goes. I think everyone does this. So like, people are always going to focus on what affects them the most,
right?
So, like if you're Black, there's a good chance that that's probably going to be something that you want to fight the most. Like if you're a trans person, you're probably going to want to speak up for like trans rights and trans people to stop being killed and no one caring about it. So, that's so that's just so. For example, with that being said, it sucks, but I understand why so many people that aren't Black will see like someone say, not defund the police, but like people will be like really adamant about Black stuff, especially right now. It's I understand why somebody that's not Black would be like, I don't care about that, because they're not affected by it.
Which is crazy, because they are, though. Fixing racism helps everybody. It doesn't just help Black people. The control and power, etc., that people who are in closer proximity to whiteness think they have is not in danger by Black people ceasing their position as pariahs in society.
Like to that point, like I found very interesting recently is like the support for Black media. Like after I want to say starting with Black Panther, it was like an outpour of like, oh, we can make money off of this. Even in the entertainment industry, where they should already know everything they make money off of, like sex sales, they should already know that.
But they spent years saying that there's no money in all Black films.
Right. And when Black Panther happened, it was like, oh, like an epiphany. It's like everybody can benefit off of inclusion, like Adam's shirt. Like if wherever like wherever is inclusion is money being made. So to me, because I know that money is what makes these high people, whoever is in control, I know that's what makes them tick. So for them to be exclusive to a certain people, it doesn't even make sense business wise if that's their main focus. So I always thought that was interesting ever since I've seen that. Like now they have all these series that they want to support Black funding, or funding Black artists more frequently, which is a good natural progression. But I think like they just realized that this is something that they can profit off of.
I feel you. It's one of those things where like I'm sorry, Aaron, go ahead.
No, I actually interrupt you. I'm sorry, man. I was just trying to get you back for earlier. I just do want to make it clear though that like my perspective that I gave earlier is not specific to Black, white, whatever. I'm talking about just like, I would say this, I've said this to my family, I've said this to friends or whatever. So I'm just talking about like the human being and where they're coming from, not necessarily what their particular cause is, whether it's being Black, a white woman, what heterosexual people got it great. My bad. Homosexuals, whatever. I just want to be clear. It's not like I agree with you, Adam, for sure, but I do want to make sure that I say this. I'm not specifically saying that because of what's going on right now in America with Black people being treated unfairly. I would say that in regards to whoever is being oppressed or not. It's just an individual human thing of whoever I'm looking at, speaking to, whatever at the time.
Right. I feel you on that. I'm gonna get us back on track.
Attraction.
Attraction. We were talking about attraction.
I know where you left off at.
Go ahead.
We were talking about in a way balancing
affirmations you give to your partner,
right?
And
compliments
you met
to other strangers.
So Adam, Aaron, who wants to give their feedback on this? Do you still even acknowledge other people's attraction to your partner or with your partner? And do you feel doing so imposes on your partnership with that person, or in any way?
Mine is similar to Marcus's in that we both will acknowledge somebody's attractiveness. I mean, male or female. Pause.
You good?
we just had this whole thing about problematic shit.
I had to take a second to laugh at myself. My bad. I was
just took all that and went back to zero. Damn it.
Yo, this is informal, man. I'm trying to have fun, man. I'm trying to have fun within this. All right. I'm trying to be me. I'm trying to fuck up sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's fun while it lasts, guys.
No, like I'm similar to Marcus and his girl in that way. That like we both acknowledge people's attractiveness, male or female. So like we're pretty good on that. I'm not staring at no girl's ass long enough to be running into a pole or something while we out like that. You know what I'm saying? But like sometimes my girl will even acknowledge it before me and be like, "Yo, she's looking really good in that." Damn, like I actually caught that 30 minutes ago, but I didn't want to say nothing.
Late.
No, but the way I see it, like I kind of treat that similar to like the whole relationship thing is like you're definitely taking a risk no matter. I mean, I have no idea how she's going to feel or take anything that I say. I recognize that. I don't know how she's going to feel in any moment, one moment compared to the next, and I recognize that. But one thing I try to do is like remind her fairly often to always take the risk herself. So if I remind her to take the risk all the time, like, yo, take the risk, express yourself, don't worry about how I'm going to feel. I try to remind her that. I think it kind of lessens the blow if she does take something away that I wasn't intended her to, and then it's easier to have a conversation about it. The mic is hot right now.
I got a quick question before like y'all respond too. It's like, because I was still thinking about how we balance and how we choose who and when and what time to compliment others and stuff like that. So my question is it okay that you may be looking at attraction different than your partner? Because I think we can lose sight of how do we even balance it if I may want to compliment something that my partner is not even addressing or acknowledging or paying attention to.
Yo, good point. That's a really, really good point. I think that's at least I don't think I've ever had the balance. I just want to say that for sure. I don't think I've ever had the balance, and that's why I always leave room for the conversation for her to always take that risk, because there will be, it will need to be a conversation sometimes. So
I don't think that's even a question of balance. It's just what my taste like.
Yeah,
I'm a man and you're a woman, and we may not have the same. We may not want to compliment this person on the same thing. You know what I'm saying? So it may look like, to the woman, it may look like, damn, you kind of reaching with that compliment. And that may be offensive to her, but to me, it's like,
what you mean?
Right, that's
like, yo, give me an example of like, you say reaching for that compliment. What you mean?
You know what I'm saying? Like Josh just said, it's all subjective. So my compliment to her I'm gonna try not to say, "Damn, she got a fat ass" or something like that, because it's just not.
I mean,
it's probably not the way you want to go. but my point is, she may not be looking at that aspect of her, which is fine.
Yeah.
You know, I like that about her, and you probably like her lace front or something. Like, you know what I'm saying? You may like her. You may like her natural.
Bangs,
no, I'm not. I'm not talking about my girl. I don't think. You may like her natural curls, right? So that's my point. Is like, that's why it's kind of hard, because what we look at may be different from what your partner looks at. Right. And I think that we have to have that understanding before we enter in that kind of thing.
And it depends on how your partner might be feeling in the moment too.
True.
You know what I'm saying? Like all these things, a lot of things could factor into that. Man.
Yeah, there's a lot of variables in this conversation.
Yeah.
But I just
Go ahead, honestly, I haven't said anything about this yet. So
I'm sorry, Doctor.
I'm just start from really like 50 minutes in. So I'm gonna start from like the beginning and just work my way to where we're at. So
take your time, brother.
All right.
Preach.
All right. So this is gonna be interesting. So all right, so me and my partner, it's weird saying partner because like I'm gay.
Just say your wife.
Yeah,
it's the truth, man.
So me and my wife, whatever, like there's definitely been times when like we're like, okay, so let me ask you this: like when you guys say find someone attractive, are you saying like just in public, like on TV, Instagram, like, or just
anywhere?
Yeah,
anywhere.
Okay, all right. So like for us, like we could be like watching a movie or a TV show or something, and somebody will pop up on the screen. She'll ask me, "Do you think she's attractive?" And like back in the day, I feel like I used to be a little bit hesitant to answer the question. Like, is this some type of like trick?
Sometimes those are setups, yeah.
And I'm like,
man, I couldn't stand.
And I would just be like,
I ain't got time for it.
Dang,
and I was
man.
like,
that's a game to me. Like,
I said no mind games, girl.
Nah, I don't play that
like,
shit.
And for me, but now I'm saying we've been together for a really long time. So I'm saying a long time ago. I'm meaning like younger days, as in like
15 years ago.
Well, we ain't been together that long. But
like high school almost. And stuff.
Yeah, like high school, maybe that period right after high school, and like back then, you know, we were young. So for me, I would be a little hesitant. But like now, if she answers the question, you know, obviously I just answer honestly, like, yeah, you know, of course, obviously she is.
Yes, blatantly fine as hell, you know.
But as far as like complimenting and stuff, like I don't think. Yeah, I know for a fact. I know for a fact that we've never complimented someone in person. You know, there's definitely been times when like I've said a thing or two, maybe online or something, and that was not appreciated by my wife. So I'm just being honest. And so that's something that I have done that I don't necessarily do anymore. Just because it's just, to me, it's just not worth it. You know, it's like even if I meant it like in an innocent manner, I realize that it doesn't come off that way. If you're, you know, so it's like, you know, whatever. It's just not worth it. Because even if I meant like, oh, blah 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 blah, you know, and I'm not even like, I said what I said, and then like legitimately 10 minutes later, it's that action has left my mind. I'm not even thinking about the situation anymore. So, but regardless if that's how I feel, I understand that this makes the person not, you know, feel like, what the heck, dude. So it's like, so to answer that question, I used to acknowledge, now I don't.
Okay.
But like, for example, if she's like just on Instagram and she's scrolling, and she'll kind of like with the TV thing, if she comes across somebody like, hey, do you think blah, 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 Which, to be honest, I honestly never really understood that concept. That for not her, but just why anyone does that. Like, do you find this person attractive? I honestly have never understood.
I can. My dynamic is different anyway, because we'll have those kind of conversations all the time about what who we find attractive and otherwise. Like my partner's queer, so I can ask her about anybody. And even though I'm heterosexual, I don't care. I'll be like, oh, that's a good looking dude. Or like, I hate commercials where the woman is so, I hate commercials or TV shows, etc., where the woman in question in this couple is vastly more attractive than the guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like what's it, that progressive commercial with the white dude and the Indian chick from Glow? I'm like, that doesn't even make sense to me, and I don't get like how I don't get why we believe this to be a thing.
I know what they do in commercials. They try to find memorable faces, like weird. I don't want to call people weird looking, but like distinct faces, like distinct features. They want you to remember the commercial.
I can tell you right now, I don't remember his face.
I got a question for y'all though. How do y'all feel if and when your partner talks about a guy or a girl who is attractive? It may be extensively, it may be for a few seconds. But how do y'all feel when that, like the flip side, like I guess we weren't never talking about the.
No, that's a good.
Just question. How do y'all feel about
that? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Al. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say I definitely don't care. I realize that there are almost 8 billion people in the world at this point, and probably half of them are probably guys. The other half, okay, let me rephrase that because it's 2020. I realize there's several genders out there, and that, I mean, if somebody finds someone attractive, I mean, it's like it's natural. It's one of the most natural things, and it's like, I mean, I just don't care. Like,
I guess I just find it interesting that we really don't. I'm not trying to put words in everybody's mouth, but we really don't question their intent. Actually, when they do that, I don't. When my girl says like, oh, he fine or whatever, like not that she does it to random people, strangers. Like it may be a celebrity or a singer or something like that. A musician that's like he's attractive. He whatever. I don't really question her intent. Like I don't.
Yeah.
Obviously they probably never going to meet, but I don't. In the same way, I'm probably never going to meet whoever. I don't know who the fine celebrities are. I really don't do that. I mean,
I know what you mean, but yeah.
I mean, I know who they are, but I don't have one that's like, oh, I really love her, but I don't ever be, because that's a whole nother subject. Because I could see a woman on the street and think she is way beyond Beyonce to me, but
I don't necessarily have those. I don't have any gripes, but I'm also in a non-monogamous relationship. And
you guys still have to interpret each other's intent, though.
Well, it's a thing of, we just have ample conversations about anyone that's remotely feasible inside of our dynamic. Anyone else is imaginary. I could give a shit less about imaginary.
Right, that's how I feel.
We have a back and forth where we're like, we'll go, would you? So we're saying like, would you smash if you ever had the chance to smash with this person? That's all imaginary shit, or even like people that we do know. But I don't really care about anything like that. And as far as like, sometimes if I see a picture of somebody that I either know or don't know, and I'm like, oh, they're fine as fuck, to me, I'm usually curious if she agrees. And so we have our like agreements and disagreements and all of that. But as far as like even saying something that could be interpreted as disrespectful, because I'm animated and I speak hyperbolically a lot, I'll say shit like yo, I'll break her down like but she doesn't say similar things of, you know, like, oh yeah, you know, he can beat my back out if he ever had the chance. Like, she doesn't say those kind of things. And so that's just not in her personality, but she knows I'm being facetious. So that's just us. That so imaginary shit don't really matter.
So the intent is understood, basically.
Yeah, the intent is always understood. It ain't real unless it is.
I would say like 9 times out of 10, I don't care. Like, I'm not really tripping it. But I mean, it's kind of similar to what I said about her. Like,
so what was that one that you cared about, Brad Pitt?
I'm about to say, dog. I'm about to.
Reveal Jason Momoa.
Reveal it to us.
She cheated. No, I was gonna say it also depends on like if that particular day or that moment I'm feeling some a disruption in the energy flow, like insecure for whatever reason. I mean, it's not even that I'll be insecure about a particular thing. It's not attached. It's just like that day I might be feeling a little low or whatever. And then I'm more susceptible to like allow my mind to just create some things that I know aren't with less awareness to like choose whether or see through it and be like, all right, that's just my mind talking shit.
That's some good honesty right there.
You know what I'm saying? So like sometimes I might be feeling insecure for real, and something that she says that otherwise I'd be like, her and I have this understanding. The understanding won't matter as much, and then I have to like get myself back on track because I'll take it a certain way that it very well couldn't have been meant to be taken. You know. So that's that. Yeah, that's that 1%. And and to answer your question, it was Eddie Murphy. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Like young Eddie or like current Eddie?
I'm talking about like raw, like the red leather suit. Like raw Eddie. No, I'm just fucking around with you. I'm just playing. Yeah, she probably don't even know who he is. No, I'll take the yo edit that out.
Wait.
Edit that out.
So it wasn't Eddie Murphy?
If she don't know who Eddie Murphy is,
no,
that's a problem.
I'm just teasing. I'm just
like, yo, Nat just lost like 300 cool points if she don't know who Eddie Murphy is. Like, you can't have that.
No, I'm just teasing, man.
Word. So, next question. Do you and your partner openly acknowledge your attraction to each other? Oh, we already did that. Great. We answered that question. And have you found it weird and or difficult to gauge if a woman you're looking at is legitimately attractive to only seeing the upper half of her face? So this is a COVID
question.
It's a real COVID question. It came to me as I was at Trader Joe's, and in the cashier, you got to assume people are smiling these days because like you got to see like if their mask like elevates. Because like the cheeks will go up, and like this.
That's such a great question, man.
I gotta assume you're smiling, and a lot of times I don't know if y'all do, but I do kind of break up a face. Like maybe the lower half of your face ain't that great, but the upper half of your face is amazing.
Yeah, your smile sucks, but them eyebrows, man.
But the eyebrows. But the thing about it is that I'm a sucker for eyes and smiles.
Cornrows.
I'm a huge sucker for smiles. Boost with the fur.
I love eyes and I love smiles, and so to be without that smile, like you're kind of getting caught in this area, which, you know, as I am not Muslim, I'm not used to that circumstance. And so I'll ask the question again, just so I'll make sure it's coherent. Have you found it weird and or difficult to gauge if a woman you're looking at is legitimately attractive due to only seeing the upper half of her face?
When I don't necessarily know how to articulate it yet, but what I'm feeling is no so far.
I had an experience yesterday. It wasn't truly really about attractiveness, but I felt like she was being rude to me at where was that? Chipotle. And
Yo, did you bend her over your knee? Oh, I'm just kidding.
What?
I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
But she had the mask on or whatever, and she was just speaking rude to me. I felt like, but she had really nice eyes or whatever. But that doesn't have nothing to do with it.
I guess you were conflicted in how you interpreted it?
Not really. I just really felt like she was being rude. How she was speaking, but I guess it would be kind of hard without the lower half of the face. So I may have been overreacting, or I may have been accurate. I really think I was accurate. Just
based on tone, I think it's enough to interpret. Yeah,
the tone was kind of, and it was people in there. So when people working, is like I kind of give you a little. At first, I give you a little leeway, but then if I have another experience with you, because I asked for her for a fork, very nicely with the please, and she was like, what? And I'm like, a fork, and like I super pronounced the K, like I gave her a hard K on the
fork,
and she gave me a fork, But yeah, I think it is hard because the mouth in that lower region is very important to the expressions.
Yeah, to expressions. I can get
even though because you can do this with your eyebrows, put them up, but you could be angry, or that can mean a lot of things. So
it's true.
So as far as attraction goes, I am an eye person. I mean, not exclusively, but is important to me.
Yeah.
So, but you don't have to have great eyes to be attractive to me. Okay. So it is. So to me, it is kind of hard to answer the question.
You opened up the question a bit, and I think that's great. Have you had a hard time interpreting expressions or trying to have conversation with the whole mask situation? Because
I find that most people pull it down when they start to talk to you.
Depends on where you at.
Yeah,
because it does muffle. It does muffle like your speech a lot. Yeah,
and people, I think is a. I don't know if people even realize they doing it. They'd be like, well, they kind of pull it down when they talk to you sometimes.
Defeats the purpose.
And then they sneeze.
Like another Trader Joe's situation happened where actually it was that same girl. I'm tripping. Where she was I had complimented her on some neckwear she had on, and I was like, yo, your necklace is dope, and she was like, oh, thank you. And then she was like trying to squint to see what my necklace is. And she was like, what is that? And I'm like, now you're trying to have a conversation. And the whole thing is that we have to be at a distance due to y'all rules. So now I got to try to yell at you through this mask. And it's not really that much like noise and everything going on. So I'm like, it's from an anime called Gurren Lagann. And it just created and I was like, in real life, I was just like, you didn't have to tell me that you like my necklace. I was just giving you you didn't have to reciprocate and then create this awkward situation.
Let's talk about necklaces.
Yeah, I do want to get me one, man.
That's funny.
But Adam, Aaron, what's y'all feelings on this?
Well, for me, I'm gonna say it's definitely difficult because, it's just hard because okay, let me answer in a complete sentence. It's hard to see if someone's attractive with half a face because, just eyes. Somebody could have fantastic eyes, but might have like 7 teeth in their mouth. So that kind of
that's true.
So like that outweighs the eyes. I'm trying to think if there's like a real life situation. No, I mean,
go ahead.
No, I'm just gonna say that I feel like I can't think of a specific situation, but I feel like in the last few months that there's definitely been a situation where I thought, oh, the person might be attractive, and then for whatever reason, they took their mask down. Like, oh, never mind. But
you sprayed it with some Lysol and get back.
I'm just positive that's happened in the last 3 months, 4 months, or however long we've been, in this. But yeah, so obviously, it's hard. Not that it really matters to me. It's not like I'm out here trying to get digits or anything, but you just,
likewise.
Because I was thinking, I was gonna say the risk isn't worth the reward, but I was like, there isn't a real reward in the situation. Like you benefit in no way by them being as attractive or whatever.
Yeah.
But that just came to mind. It's like
if anything, we realize that we do, for some reason, we want to see if somebody is attractive. Like that's a natural. We realize that that's a natural thing to do.
True. And I think a lot of people are starting to realize that jawlines matter.
Yeah.
I don't know if people realize that southern hemisphere of your face is pretty integral to people's perception of you. Aaron, thoughts, feelings?
Well, I'm in Georgia, so we've pretty much just gone back to life as usual. So I see everything, son. I see everything.
I bet you see even more because it's hot outside.
Yeah, dog, I do. I do.
So this ain't even applicable to your situation.
I mean, like a lot of people aren't wearing masks, but like some people still are. And they I'm joking, of course, but like there are a lot of places where you go inside, they'll have signs saying you're required to wear a mask. And sometimes people still don't. And I think, no joke, I think it's just a matter of like that business still needs your business. So it's like
Menards is not playing out here.
None of the stores out here playing. But Chicago is relatively liberal, so they'll make sure they adhere to it.
Yeah. Speaking of which, that makes me think of it's sort of off subject, sort of not, but so occasionally I'll watch like Trevor Noah, because he's been doing the Daily Show from home,
right?
And I find it really interesting that but he hasn't gotten a haircut or whatever since whenever, and you can tell obviously he's growing a little mini fro. But I find it really interesting because I bet you he wants to get a haircut, but he knows that his fan base is liberal, super liberal. So it's like if he does, he's gonna look like a hypocrite.
Mm-hmm.
But I know it in the back of his mind, like I could get a haircut and be okay. But he's like he can't because it's gonna like cause an uproar amongst his fans, whatever. I just think that's really funny to me because
that's kind of whack to me, man. Like
it is.
I agree. I agree.
It's not hard to get a haircut.
Yeah.
If you feel like you really need one or want one, like.
Yeah, my girl got a haircut.
I feel what you're saying. Like his following probably wants to see like, it make you seem more about some cause or something.
Yeah.
But it's not hard to cut your hair yourself.
Yeah. I personally don't care if he gets a haircut or not. I mean, I'm a big fan of Trevor Noah, but it's like I personally don't care. I just think it's a funny observation. It's like
it is a funny thing to talk about. Like, is Trevor Noah going to get a haircut
next time on Dragon Balls?
Yeah. Yo, the Twitterverse is going crazy about his haircut.
Yo, I mean,
over and under on how
it's a little odd. Don't you think it's a thing of as much as liberal America tries to act like it's always accepting and all that kind of stuff, it dictates so much of people's lives that you're like, are you really abiding by this? Are you really living that life? Or you just want to make sure the people who are fighting on that platform that you subscribe to are doing it?
That's what I'm saying. Like, you can't be perfect. Like, people who are expecting like that I guess you call a liberal America, like people who are social justice warriors or whatever, who are just really going in. It's like, yo, you have to make a mistake sometime. I know you do. Like I know you do. You come on, man.
Yeah, I think there's I mean, just like there's a far right, there's a conservative right, there's a neutral, there's levels to everything. And for me, I consider myself to be pretty left, but at the same time, I'm not like, yeah, it's like, for example, like I own a gun, for example, and there's a lot of left-wing people that would never own a gun, and that's fine. But I think it is my right. So
yeah,
I think the scale, or what do you call the slide, like the left and right? I think that's yes, the spectrum of politics is not even really applicable anymore. It's like, what does Democrat and Republican, liberal, does it even really mean what we thought it still means? Like, and I understand what they mean when they say liberal, but at the same time, knowing, can you even call yourself liberal? You have a gun, like you in specific, like I just really am lost when it comes to those terms. Yeah, because nobody is fully that, you know.
Yeah, like there's a gray area. Like I'm sure you're gonna, like, there are definitely things that somebody who's a liberal would probably agree on. And you know what I'm saying?
I think that's more harmful than anything in this current society, that people want to associate themselves with a specific thing like that.
Absolutely. I think it's a thing of the subscription to America being a two-party system is and has always been a lie.
Even the liberal thing, because it got certain stereotypes with it, like negative or positive, that
absolutely
that probably doesn't apply to you.
But and the thing about it is I don't think maybe there are people out there who really lean hard right, really lean hard left. I do think it's a whole thing of people have probably one, and I'm not going to act like this is my quote. I think Andrew Schultz said this. People have one thing they really care about, and they're looking for someone to validate that one thing, and then they'll deal with all the rest of the bullshit that person comes with, as long as that person is fighting really hard for their one thing or claims that they will.
And the one thing that people think about Trump is that he's giving it to us real. Like that's
when everything he says is a lie.
Right. That's the one thing that a lot of people want to bank on, when is can't be further from the truth.
Which is crazy.
And that's not even a political stance though. Like, he's real with us. Okay, but what's the policy though? Like, like telling it like it is. Telling what like it is.
And that's our bar. Like, we should have been had that bar met a long time ago. For the people who are in control of our country, we should have had that down. Like, in all of our candidates, that should be there.
But the issue is that people.
I think
go ahead.
I just want to say, Josh, like what you said about, like, people will, like, as long as you agree on one thing, they'll deal with all the other shit. I think you could almost say that about many other aspects of, like, society or life, like not just politics. I mean, you're looking for somebody to really, you're looking for somebody to agree with what you're saying, even in a debate. Sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like it's like, you can tell sometimes if somebody trying to be right, or they're really trying to, like, understand what you're saying and, like, give their feedback or give their response, you know?
Absolutely. But that's what I mean is that thing of they'll fight really hard for this person because they said they align with this one thing. They'll deal with all this other bullshit. And if that person does win whatever election that is, they ride extra hard for them because they don't want to seem wrong. In which it does not make sense to me. People who have been hurt or at least have benefited in no way from voting for Trump and Trump's cabinet, etc., but ride for him hard.
Bro, and it's like it's impossible because no one's gonna do everything right. No human. So you get a human in politics, they're not gonna do that. Like they're not gonna hit every point on anybody's list.
That's what I was gonna say. Like it's nobody who is gonna check all the marks of all, the majority. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, we should have a standard in our leaders. Like we shouldn't have to settle for something that's what is your strong point? I guess economy when we talk about Trump, but that's yet to be even how do we even quantify, or you can't go by the stock market because most people saying we just now seeing Trump's fingerprint on because they say that it's just like sports. Like when the coach sets up a team and they fire him, the next coach is going to reap the benefits of
the work they did.
Right. So like Steve, the stock market is gonna be like, okay, we still riding off of whatever the last person the last regime set up.
It usually takes 3-4 years for any kind of shift to even happen from whoever previously had it.
So do we even know that Trump is a strong economist? Like a lot of people bank on that too. Like
definitely not right now because the economy is dead.
And he made a lot of decisions to shoot himself in the foot with this COVID thing too.
Yeah.
I mean, outside of economics, just general
public safety.
Right.
He can pretty much kiss that economy thing goodbye because, for one, as we know, like 40 million, 30, whatever it is, 30 to 40 million people have lost their jobs, whatever.
Right.
I think they said over 100,000 small businesses have shut down for good. Like they're not coming back.
I feel like that's intentional, but we can get into that another time.
Wait, like they shut down on purpose or what?
No, that you know how they bail out big corporations?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Where is that effort for the small businesses?
Well, they have that one.
I mean, they
it's been that way for a while.
I know they gave out extra loans, but in the long run, is that really helping?
Because there's been some there have been forgiveness programs, there have been loans, there's been efforts made toward with small businesses. Was it anywhere near the scale of large corporations? Probably not. But there have been some efforts made. I only say that just because I'm in these meetings that talks about at least what we qualify for on our business end for the companies I work for.
I just don't feel like their interest is in that because the large corporations, right? I feel like the large. I just feel like the large. Go ahead.
I was going to say, even if that is the case, like say it was on purpose, it doesn't help them though, because all the business owners, they're like, well, dang, screw you, Trump, because you're not helping us out. So like that might not, but maybe they didn't help small business on purpose, but I don't think that benefits the Trump administration.
I think it benefits them greatly because you still gonna have to go shop, right? You're gonna go shop at Walmart, and all the big corporations are in bed with politicians. So if we know that, then we know that's they don't go without. They don't have to worry about this. It's the common people who have to worry about this, and they know that we're gonna run to Walmart. We're gonna run to all the places that shut down small businesses.
I'm sure that's probably the case on some grander scale, at least out here anyway. There were only 2 Walmarts that I know of on the south side of Chicago. At least there's this one on 47th and there's the one on 83rd, and both of them been closed since protest started. And even though stuff has calmed down, they still ain't open back. And so I don't know how many stores that's necessarily affected nationwide, but they still losing money. Granted, they probably got plenty of money to spare, but they losing current day retail.
I don't know.
Yeah, me either.
Well, I don't know. It's like the third episode we gonna end with a welt, but well, yo, this has been another episode of the InforMILLy Honest podcast. We want to thank y'all for joining us. We are four brothers that pride ourselves on having just huh?
Four brothers, no Mark Wahlberg, Tyrese,
no
Andre, no Andre 3000,
and the one weird kid.
We pride ourselves on having just really candid conversations rooted in being forthright, vulnerable, and honest, and challenging each other to not only speak our truth but to grow and
evolve our truth.
You know, if you ain't working to mature and evolve, then you're stagnant, and nobody got time to watch you stand in place.
Yeah, everybody trying to watch you breed bacteria, man. You better, please. That's what happens. In stagnant
trying
water.
to see your Wi-Fi freeze.
That was me. So good, bad, and indifferent. Write us at informillyhonestpodcast@gmail.com. If you're here, you probably know how to spell it, but just in case, InforMILLy honestpodcast@gmail.com. Look us up on Facebook, InforMILLy Honest Podcast. Look us up on Instagram, InforMILLy Honest. Coming to you every Monday with that non-fictitious, aka that real. Anybody got last words?
Man.
I got something, man.
I just want to say, like, just pay attention to your surroundings, man. Like, I just see too many people following, man. Like, whether it may be mentally or physically or whatever, like, whatever somebody posts on social media or whatever realm it may be, come up with your own conclusions with the information that you've gathered, or don't say nothing, just gather more information.
Yeah,
that's all. That's my message to the people.
Yo, it
may not even concern what we were just talking about, but I just want to say that.
Yeah.
Yo, quick response to what Marco just said is it's okay to say you don't know until you do. I think I think it's okay to say I don't know until you do, until you feel like you do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But what I was really gonna say was now that we have this space, I want to feel free to give us your feedback. Feel free to comment. Feel free to give us your feedback. That's what I have to say.
Did you look at the other pictures instead of into the camera?
I don't know where my eyes were, bro. I don't know where my eyes were looking.
You like this? Feel free. Wait, what's
from my perspective, man, it was in the right place. All right. Exactly where I needed to be.
I'm just here to troll. AJ, you good?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I gotta say something now.
I mean, you don't, but it's okay. Let's pose it.
Tell us what your hat talking about.
Greenwood.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so yeah, Greenwood was. I mean, everyone knows. Well, everyone should know of
everybody don't
Black
know.
Wall Street.
Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yeah, Tulsa. Greenwood was just the neighborhood in which Black Wall Street was in. Like a lot of people refer it as Black Wall Street, but Greenwood is the actual technical term of the of that area of Tulsa, Oklahoma. So 1921, that's just the year of the massacre and the race war riot, the awful situation that happened. So
right.
That's all.
There in Greenwood, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not mistaken, that happened twice there, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Because the first situation, and by all means, people out there, you can read up on it on your own. I'm saying this based on a couple years ago was in Tulsa, and so this is the education they gave us. The situation happened on some Emmett Till shit. A white woman lied about a little boy, saying that he did something to her. And so they used that as an excuse to burn down all the businesses, kill all the, churches, cemeteries, and all that kind of stuff, massacre a bunch of people. And they got the local papers to print that it was a race riot because they knew that the insurance companies for said community didn't cover riots, so they couldn't get their claims on their property.
Damn.
Still banded together, rebuilt their businesses, and then they came back and burned shit down again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was just one of the many cases that people build for themselves, and the jealousy of others tears it down when it had nothing to do with them. Because the only reason they even built it was because the local communities or whatnot wouldn't give them loans, wouldn't help them to buy property, wouldn't help them start their businesses, and so they was like, we'll do it on our own. They built themselves up, started getting wealth, and they were like, yeah, that's got to go. And so, shout out to the ancestors.
That story need to be heard, man.
Absolutely. I know that it was covered somewhat in the first episode of Watchmen, that the newer version of Watchmen.
Yep.
And so there was unfortunately way too many people that had just heard about it in that. But yeah, my last words is always going to be learn your history, because the Western education system is never going to make it a point to teach you about it. And maybe someday they will. But yeah, go learn it for yourself.
Yep. You kind of gotta unlearn most of the shit. Like,
right.
You gotta, like, a lot of people call it deprogramming or whatever you want to call it. You kind of gotta unlearn and then learn it yourself.
Yeah. So we love y'all. We appreciate you for listening. Peace.
Man, take care, everybody.
Yeah, for sure.
Love you all.
I'm gonna keep it recording. Let's go. Keep it running.
So
Yo, keep the
the
beat.
world can discover.
Yeah, I see you as my brother. Even if we came from different mothers,